Call of Duty Ghosts was the first game in the series to rival Dark Souls when it came to the number of broken TVs and controllers in the world. If you're old enough to remember brain training on the Nintendo DS, chances are you've got a few not so fond memories of Ghosts as well. But times change. So, does the Ghost campaign actually deserve more love than it received at launch? Well, today we're going to answer that question. I started by choosing Veteran again because stepping on the fun side of a plug makes me feel alive, which starts our Ghost journey. The story begins with the bad guy from Avatar explaining how 14 men ghosted all over. No, it was a team of soldiers that were super good at being soldiers, and they kind of liked Halloween a bit too much. We play through the eyes of Logan Walker, a voiceless, emotionless shell of a man who basically needs his big bro Hesh to do all the talking. Avatar Guide leads us back to his house before being rudely interrupted by a few jumbo-sized missiles. Where the fuck did these come from? Well, funny you should ask, because now we're playing a protagonist called Baker, and he's doing some work in space? Dude, if I had to guess which Call of Duty started the space race, I probably would have said Call of Juarez before I said Call of Duty Ghosts. Baker and his astronaut pal Mosley are stationed on this missile-filled satellite called Odin. Unlucky for them, however, gods have a habit of being overthrown. So a bunch of bad guys decide they want Odin for themselves, with plans to play a darts match on all the major US cities. And as you can guess, we didn't like that very much. So heroically, we get to blow the thing up before it can do more damage. We then return to the Walker fellas as they get to witness the frankly beautiful destruction of San Diego. Of all the action sequences in the game, this was definitely one of the most immersive ones. So Logan Paul trips over, and in Call of Duty fashion, we get another knocked unconscious but somehow was still okay section. So where do we wake up? Well, 10 years in the future, that's fucking where. And we also have a dog now. So, you know, this game is already peak. Meet Riley, balls are better than biscuits Walker. This first mission is definitely a Call of Duty mission. I mean, it's got shooting and sneaking. Look, you're defending a checkpoint in the destroyed remains of LA. We then eventually get to meet up with our father, Avatar Guy. He explains that he loves his sons more than anything, so naturally he decides to send us to No Man's Land, which is apparently the worst fucking place around here. I mean, Father of the Year right here, Jesus. This leads into our next mission, No Man's Land. We're sent to save a few supernatural entities lost in the void that is No Man's Land, where we finally get to play Riley, You Look Better in Red, Walker. As a Call of Duty action sequence, this part is pretty disappointing. The movement and the kills are fairly directed, so you don't really have that freedom you would feel in other sequences. Moving on, we continue as Logan Paul through this forest, and well, that didn't really work out last time, until we finally meet the big baddie of the game, Rourke. He's seemingly captured this guy with a Rorschach mask on called Ajax. Now, who the darn tootin' is this fella? Well, he's a goddamn ghost is what he is. One of the scary bastards from the elite kill squad that Avatar Guy mentioned. The bad guy walks off as we dig into our assholes for a bit, leaving us fighting more pawns. Suddenly, a bunch of evil Rileys decide to surround us. Lucky for us, this forest is haunted, son. Keegan and Merrick turn up, heroically murdering some wild animals. These two are like the secondary characters of the story. They kind of serve as the gruff British fellas who usually escort you around in these games. Keegan and Merrick decide they missed their buddy Ajax, so that takes us to the next mission. Ajax has been dragged to some ruin, so it's our job to break in and save the scum remover. Eventually, though, we do find him and, shit, looks like we need a new bottle of Ajax. We gather some intel before leaving in a helicopter, which you'll find is a common trend in this game. So in the next mission, we're back at base and we miss Daddy Walker. However, turns out the place is under siege. So some military shit happens, which leads us into a now burning headquarters. We make it to the top and, oh. Luckily, I'm amazing at quick time events. Fuck! Our 150 IQ brother Hesh points out that we're bleeding and also that the fucking sky is blue before suddenly some Minecraft phantoms jettison us out. Hesh acts like a Suki Lala because he couldn't find the villain from Avatar, but thankfully the leader of this team seems to have the exact same build, height, and voice as our holy shit, oh my god. the father is also a ghost. Yeah, so it turns out the story he was telling us at the beginning was actually about him. A little bit narcissistic, if you ask me. So we all have a little cuddle and kiss session as we lead into the next mission. Legends never die. We're now in a flashback from about 12 years prior, and the ghosts are led by Rourke in pursuit of a Federation leader. Now, you may be thinking, who the fuck are the Federation? Well, they're actually the bad guys of this game. So why haven't I mentioned him in the video yet? Because they're so goddamn forgettable, I didn't actually realize it wasn't in the script yet. I could go back and change it, but I'm not gonna. The fact that I forgot the name of the enemies in this game kind of says everything I want to say about it. Story aside, this mission is probably one of my favorites. The set pieces are amazing, and the environment really brought me back to that Modern Warfare feel. There's also this flooding sequence, which is just peak. The ghosts make their way to the target, even when prompted not to, finally killing the guy. During the fiasco, Rourke actually gets pinned, and we have to decide between saving him or us. Which brings me to another rant. The justification for this guy Rourke becoming evil is so goddamn stupid. Not in the, oh, but humans do stupid stuff all the time way. More in the, this is completely unconvincing as a character decision way. They try and convince you that this hardened soldier who clearly couldn't be saved would just randomly become evil. And the only justification we get is that the Federation brainwashed him. Do they establish how they achieve that? No.
Whatever they did, if they can turn him, they can turn anyone.
It's just fucking... Look, I'm just going to leave it there and continue with the campaign. The next mission sees us infiltrating a high-rise building for intel, and from a gameplay standpoint, it was actually really fun. But at this point, the story is just gather intel half the time, so I'm just going to quickly move on from this. Okay, cool. Here's a mission I can actually talk more positively on. You get to fly this helicopter around, and not just as a rail shooter sequence, but you actually get to move the damn thing. As far as Infinity Ward goes, this was the first game that actually implemented this. It also does that same thing that Modern Warfare 3 does, where you get to change between the helicopter pilot and the protagonist. And of course, the cherry on top is that the story actually progresses somewhat. We go from gathering intel every mission to actually gathering Rourke. But, you know, we're only halfway through the game, so I don't think we've won yet. I'll explain this next part by pointing you towards that scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Bane goes, "It would be extremely painful for you." It's quite literally that exact scene. The fucking dude escapes immediately, and now we're catapulting to the earth below. Luckily, we have a parachute. I mean, even then, how did this guy survive? He straight up smacks into a piece of debris. Of course, we get another knocked unconscious but somehow was still okay section before having to sneak around some Federation soldiers. Now, being the washed up pro gamer ASIO Turtles, I of course did this perfectly and then made contact with the rest of the gang. This mission was fine, but it slows you down to simulate a fucked up leg, and I really hate when a game makes you walk slowly. If you're gonna make me fall from a plane and survive, don't hinder me afterwards. Just make me feel invincible. From here, we jump off a cliff and it's the next mission. Our job here is to collect intel. So let's ignore this story for a bit and try and think positively. From a gameplay standpoint, this mission was fun. I enjoyed the change in scenery. There's some good stealth in this, and the final fight we get to defend a room with multiple pieces of equipment is just amazing. To top it off, we get an engaging rail sequence where you drive over a frozen river, blowing holes into it which enemy trucks can fall into. Overall, I would say this mission is outstanding compared to the others. Next up is the mission Atlas Falls, and basically this facility called Atlas Falls. Yeah, let's keep this shit going. Now, if you remember the introduction of Ghost back in 2013, then you'll probably know they talked about the advanced fish AI present in the game. In this mission, we get to swim around and see some fishies. Story-wise, we're basically blowing up a ship to stop Federation. Look, I don't really care anymore. We're just doing the same shit every mission now. From a gameplay standpoint, this mission was fine. The swimming was at least a bit different. However, it did get really irritating by the end. In the next mission, End of the Line, we actually figure out they're trying to remake Odin, but just kind of a shittier version. Besides that, it's just another break into a building and kill a bunch of soldiers mission. So let's move on to Sin City. Out of the blue, Rourke appears and captures the gang, spouting some bullshit about being ghosted. Honestly, bit of an overreaction on his part. I will say though, the actor does a great job. He really embodies this guy both in performance and with his voice.
You know I'm not telling you a damn thing.
No? Let's see if I can change your mind.
Easy, Junior. I ain't even started with you yet. Oh, he's still got a little life in him.
After some light bullying from Rourke, he makes us shoot Daddy Walker, which honestly would have been devastating if I gave a f. I mean, to their credit, this was the first interesting thing to happen in a while.
I'm proud of you, Logan. Everything's gonna be okay.
I'm not a ghost. I'm the man that hunts them and sends them back to the other side.
We then make it to the bottom of this casino and it's fucking Riley Bullets Ain't Shit Walker. Finally, I can take advantage of his invincibility. What the fuck? Dude, there's no way they just killed the dog, right? Oh, no. Nope, he's still alive. I mean, thank God, but you know, now I gotta carry the bastard to a helicopter. Honestly, this part was a pain in the ass. I mean, what was the point of this? The dog doesn't die, and it just made the portion last that much longer. We make it to the helicopter for the fucking millionth time and ascend into the skies. All or Nothing sees us on a big ship fighting off more Federation forces. Yeah. Gameplay-wise, it contains a lot of different equipment like miniguns connected to helicopters, anti-aircraft missile launchers, knives. But from a story perspective, it's just filler. While it's fun, there's not really much to talk about, so let's move on to the final missions. The next two levels combine into one big mission where ground forces have to destroy ground stuff to give space forces a chance to destroy space stuff. Luckily, Infinity Ward actually decided to cook for once because we got moving tanks, baby. And not just sit in a minigun while it moves itself tank, but like an actual movable tank. I haven't seen a movable tank since Call of Duty 2. And it does jump back to Logan and Hesh at certain points, but that's only when they're entering the facility, so it's not terrible. Eventually, they finish breaking shit in the facility and we can go to space. But before that happens, Logan and Hesh decide to disobey orders and chase after Rourke on this escaping train, which of course leads into another cliffhanger. The penultimate mission, Loki, which is aptly named after the previous station Odin, sees us playing Random Soldier 1 as they drift through space. The combat here isn't terrible. Honestly, they did do a good job with the physics. I wouldn't say they're realistic physics, but it worked well enough to be immersive. However, on veteran difficulty, they definitely did not balance this gameplay correctly. Due to the fact you cannot quickly run or hide, if you're in the eye line of an enemy, you're just immediately fucked.
And it was fun, fun, fun.
So a million deaths later, and I was finally able to progress. You eventually gain control of Loki and get a quick set piece sequence where you can evaporate enemies below. I did enjoy this portion in particular, as the spectacle really made that shitty fight to get there feel more earned. Suddenly, the ghosts call in asking Loki to shoot at Logan and Hesh.
Previous order. Target the train and fire on it.
Sir, there are ghosts on that train.
The order comes from the ghosts. You're confirmed. Repeat, confirmed. Fire on that train.
Why, you ask? Well, let's jump back another 15 minutes. The Ghost Killer brings us back to the train that I mentioned prior, as Hesh and Logan chase after Big Boy Rourke. In theory, this sounds like a fun mission. You get to fight across a train, and it's the final boss fight of the game. This being said, the movement of this stupid futuristic train means that your aim is always being thrown around, so it ends up being nowhere near as enjoyable as it could be. Moving on, you finally make it to the bastard, and that means it's revenge time.
Copy, Hesh.
We're moving in on Rourke. If you hear the word checkmate, you will fire in our position. Confirm.
Oh,
Now! You can't win, Rourke. It's over. Checkmate.
Checkmate confirmed.
What was that? What? It's over.
We now witness train go boom.
Got the gun! He's dead.
Copy that. The Federation's in full retreat. The rest of the payload's inbound to finish the job. Sit tight. Recon's coming for you.
So, End of game. I mean, I definitely need to let this stew with me for a sec as the credits roll. I'm happy there wasn't some bullshit where the villain just randomly came back for...
Look at what you did.
Oh, fuck. I mean, that's a half decent way to just ruin the end of a game. And there you go. That was Call of Duty Ghosts. Honestly, it was mediocre. Now, it wasn't terrible, but I will say the criticisms levied against it were justified. The story was bland and full of filler missions. The characters were generally uninteresting. The ending was just a kick in the balls. I mean, they were clearly just trying to set up a sequel, but that sequel never came, so it just feels unfinished. The gameplay, however, was actually very good. All the guns in this game are frankly great. The Honey Badger was always a fan favorite of mine, even as a kid. The suppressor by default made it feel sleek and tasteful. It definitely replaces the role of the M4 rifle from the Modern Warfare games. When it comes to the snipers, I specifically remember as a kid being annoyed by the new look because of how prominent quickscoping was back in the day. However, as an adult, it was much less irritating at least. On top of this, I did notice the guns have a specific design choice to make them look broken and decayed. This LMG here comes to mind the most. As a kid, I actually assumed the scope just looked like that, but upon revisiting the game, I've realized it's actually a choice to make it look war-torn. Multiplayer-wise, of course, no one was playing the game, so I did play one AI match, and as I suspected, it just pissed me off, but it wasn't horrible. Finally, however, I tried Extraction again. I will always stand by this mode being great. I loved it as a kid, and I really had a blast playing it today. So that was Call of Duty Ghosts. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. I also have a Discord, so if you guys want to join that, check the link below. On top of this, I've just released the member and Patreon program. Both provide the same amount of extra content, so for you guys, it's really just a personal preference. Thanks for watching, and remember,
You crossed the line.